you noticed that the stars all seem to have gone from the sky? There were loads and now there's none. If you look up and you sigh, can you dream on any stars? Can you see any quite now? Can you see a star? Look out now. Are there any there? Have you seen one lately? I don't think so. You might have seen Venus in the sky. You might have seen the moon if you look really, really high. You might have seen Mars or Jupiter if you look really closely. You might have seen a satellite. You might have seen SpaceX if you're looking really hard. You might have seen quite a lot of things if you look in your backyard. But if you look out really carefully and look out really high, you'll never see, hello Philip, you'll never see a star if you looked out. I just looked out into the sky and I saw those stars, and I usually see loads of stars, and the sky is really clear and I don't know what's happening. Do you know what's happening? And I suddenly realised I haven't seen one for quite a while. Joyous and earthly and cosmic Sunday to you two, but I haven't seen any stars. Can you see the stars? Can you see the stars? I looked out just now and I couldn't see one. Like you said, the sky was really clear earlier and I thought, what's going on? Is this something weird? I don't know what to think. I know, in London it was really, really easy to think that it's because of light pollution. Did you see the lights of a plane? Yeah, there's loads of them. I'm not sure what's going on. I just looked out and usually I see loads of one of them over on the sky, above the mountain, high in the sky. That might have been a UFO, Philip, yes. I just looked out and the only thing I saw was a couple of twinkly weird lights in the sky high above. And I looked really hard, but all I could see was really all the traffic down below. It just kept coming as if it was coming really fast, just to stop me seeing the sky. Might have been but I don't know what the sparkly things were in the sky, but I looked and it could have just been sort of an after effect, like a buzzy after effect, but it was weird. And I looked really hard and I looked really hard and I couldn't see anything. I looked really hard and where are all the stars gone? I'm a little bit worried now because I read something about the James Webb telescope and it's seen things that you should expect to see, like the universe is going in all sorts of directions that it was like, oh, that shouldn't be there. Oh, that's not what we were expecting at all. Oh, there's lights on that planet. That's a bit weird. And then I just saw, just before, there was some American politician, this woman politician that was just about to go into some sort of, not an inquest, but some sort of disclosure, where she said, it's not aliens, and we never said aliens, there's no aliens, but there are, not entities, she said things from, I don't know whether she meant other dimensions. It just was a bit weird. It was like, why are you saying this? Isn't that a bit weird? I did see also that those dolls in Mexico that everyone said, oh, Peru, wherever they were, oh, the alien bodies, but, and loads of people have seen them. But somebody said that, no, they're just dolls. But I don't know whether they're the same ones that they found earlier that we go, look, there's organs, or whether these are just a separate set of dolls. And it's like, oh no, these are dolls. So if these are dolls, the other ones must be dolls. Or whether it's just all of them are dolls. Now, you would think all of them were dolls, but I don't know anymore. I'm a bit confused. And like I said, no stars. Yeah, exactly. Surely not. No, she didn't come across us in that case. That was the weird thing. And she was going into an official meeting and was very adamant. They're not aliens. It's like, what are you talking about? Who are not aliens? What are you talking about? It's like, what? Because it wasn't like, well, yeah, I've seen a lot. It's just like, I don't know what to think anymore. It's all a bit strange. It's all a bit peculiar. But I am a bit worried about the stars. Because that episode of Doctor Who, where everyone's like, oh yeah, there's never been any stars. Oh, the stars have disappeared, yeah. Ooh, I was thinking there was a couple. And there was one where all the planets had disappeared and then they had to, because Earth had been moved, and so it was in a different place, and loads of, and there was another one, I think it was an Amy Pond one, where everything was going out and Earth was the only thing left, and it was the last thing in existence. And I'm a bit worried that it was actually a documentary rather than a fictional TV show. And I'm just going, oh no! Please, to the TARDIS there. There's money in it. I got money. I got £4. Oh right, that's right. My mum got me a scratch card that cost £3, and I won. I won £3. So I'm thinking you probably wouldn't have. I mean, if she'd have just given me £3 straight away, then that would have probably been better. But now I've got rattling my TARDIS. Yeah, I think I got 2 of those because I think this is one that got left behind, and I think somewhere in all the luggage, I still haven't unpacked everything. I might have some more, but I might have another one that's got pennies in it, and tuppenny bits, which I did some washing in the washing machine. My mum got a fairly new washing machine, and I put some stuff in, and it was like, it had been working right. It was like, this just smells bad. It smells weird. What's wrong with this? And then, so I cleaned out the filter, which I don't think has been cleaned out since it's not an old washing machine, so it's not a long time since the filter. Anyway, 2 PPs fell out of it. It's like, I wonder whether that was the problem. Possibly, I don't know. I did another wash and it was fine, so possibly that was it. So don't put coins in your washing machine is the lesson learned for today. The lesson learned. Yeah, so, but the whole thing about the stars, it's just suddenly occurred to me, yeah, I haven't seen them for a while. Like in Finchley, where I used to live, the light pollution wasn't quite as bad, and I'd look up and I'd see, you know, Orion's belt or whatever, and you'd see that on the plough. But I mean, I've been looking at the stars for a couple of times, and I thought maybe the light pollution had got worse, so I hadn't seen them for a while. But now I'm like, there's no reason, because it was really light, it was really bright earlier on. I'm just freaking myself out. And also, another thing, I'm just like scaring myself for no reason now, but my mother found an old photo of this area, because we're in a valley, so it was a sort of view across the valley before this house had been built, and there was like an old row of miners' cottages, and there's other miners' cottages that I thought were like 200 years old, but can't be, because that's before the age of photography, and there was only one lot here, but behind it there was a gigantic big slag heap with what turns out to be a brickworks on top of it, and I'm like, where's that? And I realised that it's just across the way from here, and I'm like, is that still there? Because there's a big thing about they haven't actually cleaned all these big heaps of disposal things from mining away. They just sort of put vegetation over them, and they're sort of there. So there's been a lot of rain lately, so I'm like looking at the houses on the mountain going, oh, are they safe? I'm just freaking myself out. There's this one house with a balcony that's very elaborate and big, and apparently appeared on one of those escape to the country things, you know, where you go into the country and you see a luxury house. It's like a luxury house in this area, but yes, I can see it from the seat that I sit in a lot, and I'm like, and I was looking at the Christmas decorations. Yes, it does, but also they're still there, so if the vegetation falls away or you've built on it, there's still the underlying, it's just sort of a shaly, it's not shale, but it's a sort of shaly, loose material. I mean, it packs down, but it can, you know, if the water gets underneath it, it can move. So I was like, oh, that's, because this brickwork was on top of the most enormous one that I've ever seen. I mean, I'm sure they used to all be like that, and probably there's loads around here that have got vegetation grown over them. I know there's a place called the British, named after, I think, the British Mine Works or Iron Works. I don't know what it was, the British something works, and now it's just called the British. It's in Britain. And there was apparently a big mansion there, and there's lots of ironworking buildings, but there were, when I was a child, I remember seeing lots of slag heaps there and lots of things, but there were some bad accidents, like people falling down pits and things, and it was bad. So they cleaned it up, but they're still there. They've just been covered up. And but the mansion I didn't realise was there. It has been taken over by nature, because went walking there one day and it was like, ooh, is this what there was a... because there's like bits of, and it's apparently really big, but now there's just a couple of bricks and stones. And you'd never think there was anything there. Things disappear quite quickly. It's like this whole thing about maybe there was hundreds of lost civilizations, and we don't know they're there because they were covered in slag heaps, probably, and groceries. I don't mean groceries. Vegetation. I suppose you can eat vegetation, so it is groceries. Like all these things that they found in Brazilian rainforest now. It's like loads of buildings that they didn't expect to see, and they're like huge complexes and roads and all sorts of stuff. And railways? No, I don't think they had railways back in ancient history. They might have done though. They might have had all sorts of technology we can't begin to comprehend. Like these American politicians are talking about. Maybe they're talking about people from the Brazilian rainforest like 50,000 years ago or something. I don't know. Before it's like I was invited yesterday. I didn't go, or the day before, to a virtual event in Siberia, where we had a lot of the virtual free fringe stuff, and some artists were celebrating the millionth birthday of art. Apparently they celebrated the millionth birthday of art about 5-10 years ago, and so this is the millionth and 7th or 8th or something. But this is the day before yesterday is apparently the anniversary of 1,000,000 years of art, and 1,000,000 and a couple. It's like people weren't actually in existence then. I don't know. It's in dispute how long ago Homo sapiens first were starting to think as modern humans are. But it's like, was it 1,000,000 years ago? I don't think it was quite as long ago. And if it was that long ago, then surely hundreds of civilizations must have risen and fallen in all that time before the modern iterations. So it's like we should probably be looking further under the ground. And it all came to a head. I don't know whether you've seen the little thing that I put up. I know Philip's commented on it. The whole thing about the river, like that. Actually, the river. If you go and see it's only about 1:40. You can see it. It's the river's gone sort of reddish brown because there's a river that feeds into it from the British that I was just talking about. And when my mum was a child, she said to me that they used to call it the Rusty River, and they used to play in it, and it used to be bright red, and it was, yes, a beer river, yes. It used to be bright red. I said to her yesterday, you told me it used to be called the Rusty River, and she said, I never did. It's like, well, you did, because it never used to be red when I was a child. Maybe a little tiny tinge of red, but it's like, it used to be bright red. It's like, did it? And they built over it, because it used to go through the local town, the local village now, but it was a town back in the day, and they built a car park over it, and it goes underground, and it comes up every now and then, so you can see a bit of it. But I filmed it, and you can see where it comes out, and then it goes back underneath, and then it goes into the main river that goes all the way down and joins up to, I think the Avon Lewis joins up to the Usk, and then it joins up to it goes into Newport Docks and joins up with the Severn and the Bristol Channel, whatever. Anyway, so she used to call it the Rusty River. She says this. Now, I wouldn't make this up. I know her brothers have also said. She's like, no, never said that. You did. She's always going, no, I never said that. You made it up. It's like, how am I remembering something? I've got no business. It wasn't red when. Why would somebody tell me it was the Rusty River? If why? Anyway. That's what I heard it was called. Anyway, it was rusty again because of something that's happened. Too much rain, or something's burst, or I don't know. There's suddenly more water than usual. There was talk of opening it up again because they put it underground in a lot of places, and it's like if they can make it go in its normal flow, then it's maybe can attract tourists in its bright red, scary state. So it joins up with the main river, and it turns Grey River into a very browny red river. Although I think my mum said that she went down today and it's more or less the same colour as it usually is. So it was a temporary thing. What was my point? Yeah, things change and industry. I don't know what my point was. Oh yeah, things change and nature's weird, and you go, well, that's changed. It's like, It never used to be like that. I saw some sort of video about how, well, they found ancient artifacts in the ground. They must be millions of years old because look at the rock doesn't form that quickly. It doesn't, except when it does. Like volcanoes quite quickly can turn things into rock, as the people from Pompeii found out. They didn't find out to their peril because by the time it happened to them, I surely don't think that they thought very much at all. But things can turn into rock quite quickly, a lot quicker than you thought they could, a lot of the time. So it's just like, well, I don't think it's a million years old, but is it? Or maybe it is. Maybe these mobile phone embedded in diamond at the centre of the universe, in the centre of the earth, is actually just where it was before, when we left it. Before loads of layers. Things change very easily. I think recent modern events can show us that something that's there, it doesn't necessarily still be there. It's not necessarily still there in the morning. Nothing's where you left it. It's all changed, Nothing's permanent, it all changes. You think everything's going to be the same tomorrow, but it isn't. You think everything's going to be the same. It's not going to be the same. Nothing's going to be the same. Every time you look, something's different. You can't keep up, can you? It just can't keep up. Oh, I just noticed that usually the little clock that times this is in the corner, and for some reason it's moved. I'm like, oh, it's not there. Everything's moved around. They've changed everything. Even YouTube has changed. It's like, that's not where I left it. That's case in point. Nothing stays the same no matter what. So the little thing that says, what? It's telling me it's live. I know it's live. It won't be live when you see this, apart from the 5 people that are here already who've gone very quiet. I don't know whether you have gone quiet, whether I just can't see your comments, because that's happened before. I know some of these things, like, I can't see anybody talking, and you're talking away, and I just can't see it. It's just unbelievable. Yes, so, things on the horizon. Shh. Oh, we're just listening because I'm so endlessly fascinating. Haha. Yeah, I don't know what's going. I'm like, oh, I'm seeing all these videos about what to do with your life and stuff. Yes, don't wait the aliens. Exactly. It's like, oh, some bloke that does another thing. It's these things keep popping. If you watch one of these videos, especially on other sites, yeah, the algorithm gets you. If you watch one, then they keep coming to you. They keep finding you. They find you all the time. They'll find you wherever you are. And there's one, I've seen it before, one guy that reckons that he's possessed by the spirit of some entity that he says, oh, and this very wise entity can give people all advice about their lives. And somebody says, somebody in the audience was like, I've got spiritual for the last 20 years and nothing's where I want it to be. And he's like, oh, no, it's because you've got to just go with it, or you're expecting things. I can't remember. It's just like, oh, it's what you need, not what you want. And she's like, she's given up her whole 20 years of her life trying to make things happen, and it's not worked, so she's not happy. And he's like, oh, yes, you just make yourself be happy. If you're happy, then you're happy. It's not exactly what he said, but it's like, yeah, it's because, yeah, get what you need. And she's like, I'm not sure I have got what I need. He's like, you have. All right then. So it's like, just go with it. Because another thing that came upon me, it's like, that's not right. Some bloke talking about the fact that there's not going to be any jobs left soon because of AI. So they're going to have to bring in a universal basic income and make us like slaves to the machines sort of thing. It's like, we're going to have to, it's like they're not, if they're not going to pay everybody to just go, oh, we'll keep going, then what are we going to do? It's like, I mean, maybe it's back to digital serfdom. That's what everyone's saying. There will be serfs. That will be not surfing the serfdom. We would be. We'll have to do what the overlords tell us. But if it's the alien entity overlords, then whatever. Maybe everybody's in that position. What's going on? I don't know anymore. I'm just going with the flow, like the alien entity overlords are telling me to do. Where am I? I'm not playing the game anymore. I'm just like, I don't feel like I'm part of society. I don't know what's going on anymore. I'm just like, what do I want to do? It's like, what have I done with my life up till now? It's like, well, I've been a journalist. I've been a tutor. I've acted, and I've done a performance poetry things, and I've been a comedian, and I've written things that nobody reads them, but I have written them. I suppose that's all you can hope for. And I've made jewellery. I did that. I've been paid for that, and I was a workshop leader. What else have I done? Promotions where I go, oh look, try the samples, and I've worked in shops, and what haven't I tried? When I've been I've been a teacher's assistant and stuff. So I've done stuff and things, and I've met people. Does it matter? Because I'm not doing that now. I'm like, what am I doing now? I don't know. It all seems a little bit futile if the alien entities from another dimension are going to come, and we're all going to be taken over by AI, and it's all useless, and what are we going to do, and what's the point of us? What's the point of us? It's all a little bit scary. I'm like, terrifying. So I just go with it, just go with the flow. I should go for more walks. I should go with the flow, like the river goes with the flow. I should become the river. That's it. Become the river that looks like... I don't even know what it looks like. There's so many things that it looks like, but it's not good. Whatever, it's good. It's just iron oxides and stuff. Someone said it's called ochre. It's like, and they spell ochre in a weird way. It's like, I know what you mean, but I think it is just iron, to be honest. They may be very nice and helpful. Maybe they'll show us the way and the truth and the light, and they'll be very nice, and there will still be night, and the stars will come back, and we'll all be happy. And let's hope, because not now, are we? Not now, are we? We're not now. We're definitely not happy now. There's not enough. I'm sure some people are happy. I don't know who they are. Lunatics. Lunatics have the moon, and the moon's not even showing up now. Where's the moon? Somebody else. I saw another video. Somebody was like, look at the moon. And they were in America, and they said, my friend that's in Croatia, I'm going to say Croatia, the other side of the world to America, also saw this. And it's spooky. It's like they took a picture of the moon, and there was something else that also looked like the moon behind the moon, and they were like, what's that? It's like, I think probably double exposure or some sort of light artifact or something that's gone wrong with your camera, both of you at the same time coincidentally. I don't think there's anything strange about it, but I've seen a couple of pictures of the moon, and there's I know that Venus or one of the planets is visible. It was visible just by the moon. But I've seen a lot of things where everyone's just quite happily going, look, here's the moon, and there's a really bright dot just underneath in the pictures. That I'm like, what is that? Which planet is that? It's not one you mentioned. What's going on? Ah! Is that Nibiru? Is that what it is? What do we do when we see Nibiru? And the Anunnaki? What are they going to say to us? Are they going to be angry and say, you didn't do what we told you to do? And Nibiru is in the sky, and Nibiru is really high, and so are us, and so are you, and what shall we do when Nibiru comes? Nibiru! Ah! So you know what Nibiru is, Planet X. And who is obsessed with X? Elon Musk. And what does Elon Musk look like? Well, he doesn't look like a human being most of the time, that's for sure. He certainly doesn't act like a human being. Don't know what's up with him. So, Planet X. Oh, an X has come to pass. And actually, where normally the little live is, in the corner of the screen, it's just a little X, which I know means close the video. But it's usually on the other side, and it's moved. Planet X has moved. Exactly. If Elon Musk, exactly, Philip, I don't know what Elon Musk is, but intelligence is not it, for sure. he is, and well, Grimes. I had a lot of respect for Grimes, but also then I realised that I was getting her confused with FW Twigs, who I like more. And then I realised they're not the same person, and I was a bit confused because I think yeah. Anyway, one of them went out with Robert Pattinson and one of them went out with Elon Musk, and I was a bit confused about why the same person was going out with both of them, because there didn't seem to be that much of a Venn diagram in them. FKA, exactly, not FW. I was like, what? That's why I didn't say FWA. That's not what she's called. FKA, formerly known as Twigs. That's it. I was like, that's not right. What? FKA Twigs. Yeah, anyway, she's not Grimes, is the point. FKA Twigs and Grimes are not the same person. They're not even close to being the same person. And I have heard one of them's music, and I think it's FKA Twigs, and that's only because she was a TikTok meme, and people were using one of her, that somebody did Kermit the Frog impression of her, so yeah, exactly, FKA Twigs. I don't know who, I don't know anything anymore, I've lost my freaking mind, I don't know where I am. It's like, like Rita Ora. I was under the impression that I knew, so I think somebody else has pointed out my mistake. It's like, that's not, if I didn't know that she wasn't Grimes, then how can I be expected to know her actual name? Anyway, Rita Ora, who's married to Taika Waititi now, but didn't used to be, I was under the impression that I must have heard her music, because she's been around for more than a decade. So I was like, yeah, I must know some of her songs. I was like, can I think of her songs? I must know some of her songs, because I know songs. I've heard songs. So I looked up some of her songs. I'm like, no, don't recognise any of those. I think they've inserted them into the timeline. Like that record that Britney Spears did with will.i.am, which I just looked up. I thought that they'd released one recently. So I saw the video and I was like, oh, that's odd, because that doesn't look like Britney Spears and that doesn't sound like Britney Spears. And it turns out to be 10 years old and it's a completely different song. But then I was like, oh, because I found out that Talisa, that was on the X Factor, not on the X Factor, one of the judges on the X Factor. Was it the X Factor? Anyway, she was one of the judges until she did something and got kicked out of it for some reason, I think. Anyway, she was actually probably the vocalist on that. Not Britney Spears. It's like, well, what was Britney Spears doing in there? Because it's not a heavily singing song. It was Scream and Shout, I think it's called. And I saw Talisa doing her original version of it with different lyrics. It was like, well, she does sound like allegedly Britney Spears. That's like, what's going on? Because there's a lot of theories that Britney Spears has been AI for quite some years. But maybe more years than we thought, because that's from 2013 and it was like, what's going on? have things, and I didn't, it's like Don't Stop Believing, the song Don't Stop Believing, which allegedly was a hit in the 80s, and then was on Glee in the 2000s, and it was also the last song on Sopranos, I think. Was it? Yeah, Don't Stop Believing was the last song on The Sopranos, but I never saw the last episode of I think I was watching The Sopranos, but I never saw the last series. But I know that it's the last song on The Sopranos, and then shortly afterwards it was on Glee. But that's in the 2000s, yeah? And, yeah. But it was allegedly a massive song for Journey in the 80s, and I was like, oh, because I am absolutely convinced that they invented it in the 2000s and then pretended that it was a real song, and it wasn't. It never existed. It was maybe, but it never existed before that. It was invented for The Sopranos, yeah, and then Glee covered it, but it never existed before that. Trust me, I don't know. I can't remember it, and therefore it didn't exist. It's like Whack the Dog, Whack the Dog. Do you remember Whack the Dog? Do you remember remember it from the 80s? Or do you just think you do? Do you think you do, or do you really? Do you really? Do you really? Have you seen Wag the Dog? Wag the Dog, they invent a folk song, a protest song, and exactly, it might be part of the conspiracy. They invent a protest song and then make sort of videos and invent somebody that had sung this protest song and insert them into history in a sort of Zelig way. Zelig is Woody Allen, so he's been taken out of history now. Zelig and Forrest Gump, very much the same idea, where they're inserted into pivotal points in history and they're there when Forrest Gump was basically a rip-off of Zelig, which I'm not mad about now that Woody Allen has been revealed as not that great, but at the time it's like, that's just Zelig. But Wag the Dog, very much like that. As the premise of it is they had put this protest song in to say that some sort of war that they were waging was all well and good, and because look at this is how history really was. So they changed history to promote a narrative in the now. And why would they do that, I wonder? That would never happen. Never happen in real life. But maybe it did with Journey. Don't Stop Believing. Oh, which has reminded me of another song. No reason. The song that is the theme to Top Gear. Na 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 na. Yeah, no, that's not it. Na 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 na. That's the only bit of that song that I'd ever heard until I realised that it's actually a Fleetwood Mac song called The Chain, and that was in a show called Our Flag Means Death. Jessica by the Altman Brothers. No, it's. Am I getting this wrong? No, the Top Gear theme is the end bit of. Are you sure? I'm confused now because I thought it was. That's the Top Gear song. Is it? Is it? No, I'm very curious. Hi, is it? You sure? Well, what am I thinking of? Are you sure? I thought it was The Chain. I'm confused now because now I'm just like all over the place. It's like the theme to film, by Barry Norman film. It is. Well, there you go. History's been changed. Completely changed. It's a different song. It's like what the hell? It's I don't know what's happening anymore. I'm just lost. Anyway, Our Flag Means Death has been cancelled before it's got a third series. Before even the second series has been shown in the UK. So I've not seen the second series. Not at all. Because I'm not a pirate. I am not a pirate. The only way you can see it in the UK is if you're a pirate, and I'm not. It is. It's Grimes. Also, this whole thing. Have you seen my pop star character video? I made it about 10 years ago now. Jeez, is it 10 years ago? Where pop star goes back and changes the course of pop history to become a pop star and is the biggest pop star of all time. So go and see that. Can't remember what she's called. So that's probably it. That's what happened, is that actually happened, because I was convinced that was the same song. It's like, anyway. The Chain, a song. What is that part of? Maybe it's Match of the Day or something. It's some TV show that's not just Our Flag Means Death. There's another. Look it up. What was The Chain in? What theme tune is The Chain by Fleetwood Mac? Look it up for me. Make it happen. But it was probably something else before I checked. Everything's changed. Which goes back to my thing about the when I had that picture of the slag heap with the brickworks above it, right? I was trying to work it out, and there's this house with a balcony that I was looking at through my window, back to it, that had like Christmas lights on it, and I suddenly looked at it and went, oh, what's that thing on top? Is it a bird? Is it a plane? Is it Superman? No, I thought, that wasn't there. And I looked through some binoculars, got hundreds of pairs of binoculars. It's like, that's a chimney. That chimney's like a little chimney. It's always been there. It's quite a modern house. Formula One, that must be it. Formula One, that's what I'm thinking about. Formula One, not Top Gear at all. Formula One, which is the same thing as Top Gear, isn't it? Anyway, there was a little chimney that I was like, oh, I didn't see that chimney before. And then I looked at it today and I was like, oh, there's another chimney just below it and a satellite dish. And the house looks like it's moved slightly. And then I was like, maybe what's happened is this house has slid down and it was behind another house and now I can see things that weren't visible before. It's slightly tilted over so I hadn't seen this chimney. Surely not. But now I'm a bit worried because things topple and fall. Empires crumble. Everything happens. Gibraltar, Rock of Gibraltar. What's that song? Gibraltar will fall. Our love is meant to last. That one, Cole Porter song. I can't remember. Our love is meant to last. Anyway, so I don't think that this house has actually moved, but I'm not sure. So maybe it's always been like. Maybe history has changed. Maybe it's a Mandela effect. Maybe I'm in another dimension now where that was the Top Gear theme and FKA Twigs is Grimes and was inexplicably married to Elon Musk for some reason. And why would she do that? And yes, this is the universe I'm from. It's the one where the Napoleon Man. I meant to say Monopoly Man. Monopoly Man had definitely had a monocle. And the Fruit of the Loom had a cornucopia and a loom and all sorts of things. I'm in a different dimension. That's what it is. I'm a multi-dimensional pop star. That's the video. And that's what's happened. Everything has changed. Oh yes, everything has changed, and I've changed the whole thing. And actually, Our Flag Means Death has been renewed for a third series in my new dimension reality, which would be good. And then I can see the second series, which I haven't seen. And the third series, which I definitely haven't seen because they haven't made it yet, but they will. They will make it. I will make it so because I liked it and I want to see the third series. Please make it happen. Anyway, all these things are all happening in the same dimension and the stars are still there. That's the important thing. Yes. Exactly. Change for playing everything. I will change it all. Change it all. So, apparently, Denmark's King Frederick X appears. And do you know what Frederick X is? Frederick the X. He's just appeared before massive crowds. He's got X. He's like Nibiru, like X, Twitter, and like that. Yeah. I don't know what's happening. Anyway, I just got a news alert. That's why I said that. X marks the spot. It's appearing everywhere. Anyway, I'm gonna go and have a lie down now because this is too much for me. I'm going to see whether there are any stars in the sky. It might have just been clouds. Maybe there's just been really cloudy lately and that's why there are no stars. I'm going to hope so because I'm getting a little bit worried. Anyway, I'll see you next week and adieu to year and year and year. X definitely marks the spot. Oh, hello. See you soon. Anyway, bye-bye.